breweries didn't really advertise in the early days. The actual advertising didn't really get going until like about 1890, where all the kinds of things that we as brewery collectors collect today, the beer trays and the signs and all that sort of thing. And even then they were pretty simple back in the 1890s. You got into 1900 before they really started big time producing, where they thought that the other breweries are doing it, we have to do it. So it became big at that point in time. Then it was ended, of course, Prohibition. So after Prohibition in 1933, the breweries opened up again, and then people collect the stuff from that period in time. Back before the Prohibition, all the advertising for the breweries was done in a style called lithograph. And in fact, all pictures and advertising, everything was basically done with the lithograph system, which took each individual color and printed it, usually using like a stone that it had been carved into, onto the paper, then another color and different, to match them down to make these, what I think are just beautiful trays. And that's the pictures, the lithographs do a phenomenal job of making these things look really classy and alive. Whether it's brewery things that you collect or whatever it was from those periods of time, that style, that idea. And the other stuff that they did was basically hand done, where they painted everything by hand. One of the breweries in Buffalo was the Iroquois Brewery, which actually started around 1830, but originally when they incorporated and became the Iroquois Brewery, it was around 1880. And when they started advertising, they wanted to display a Native American. And for whatever reason, I guess it was everyone did it back then, there was what they called the European style of Native American, that picture of a head. And it was like a European, a person that was from Europe with a headdress on. So they decided to change and purport or portray an actual person who looked like a Native American as far as the head on the Iroquois advertisements. And a gentleman, an artist by the name of Nick Schwab, who happened to be the nephew of the mayor of Buffalo during Prohibition, Frank Schwab, Francis X. Schwab, his nephew, and was a very good artist. And he provided the new Iroquois, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with. Anybody who lives in Buffalo has seen the new style of Iroquois Native American head, which was very, very much looked like you might expect a Native American to appear. I don't think the Iroquois actually wore those kind of headdresses that they used, but nevertheless, he did end up doing all the advertising for Iroquois Brewery, and all the billboards around that you see and everything, or you saw at that time. That was all his work, and a lot of the other advertising was his work. So it was quite something, and that was the reason everything changed. But he always portrayed the Native American as a very noble individual. They're very careful about that in Iroquois' days until the end, when it was sold to another company, and then they changed a few things in the way they advertised him. But originally, he and the brewery owners were very careful to have a lot of attention on the fact that it was a noble individual they were looking at and talking about.